All right. Hello, everyone. Our first question is on mantra. It's from Jack Stafford saying, I am currently reading your mantra book, Ancient Language of the Soul. Thank you for this excellent resource. I am practicing mantra about 40 minutes per day, but would like to step up to 2 hours when the weather cools down. I have been using Dr. King's Initiation into Dynamic and Soul Mantras CD as you suggested. In your book, you mention the astronomical rounds of mala beads to activate just one mantra. You mention it's important to predetermine the number of times that we chant a mantra. My question is whether it's best to concentrate on one mantra or do them all. If you have limited time, is it better to chant one mantra solidly for an hour or 8 different ones?
That's your choice. Um, each mantra comes with a set of uh, energies or power, and it operates on certain levels of the auric and chakra and nodic systems. So it's up to you. I think you could. I did both. I chanted mantra. I concentrated on one mantra at one time, and then another time I concentrated on several mantras. And back in the day, I used to chant mantra when I was in school. In high school, I used to chant mantra uh, from Friday night all the way to Sunday night. So I would take the weekend and I would give up my weekend and just chant mantra and just have periodical breaks. So it's up to you how you would do it. I think either or is best depending on what you're trying to accomplish.
Second part of the question. Secondly, could you go further and give some recommendations for a daily regime? How many hours of either pranayama, service, prayer, and mantra should we aim for? And just out of interest, can you recite mantra on the other realms of existence, and will it have the same effect?
Uh, I mean, if you want the best resort, try to spend as many hours as you can give mantra, pranayama, and prayer out of your day, because that's one of the secrets of sacrifice. And also remember that karma is uh, is karma yoga is the yoga that govern movement, that govern all actions. So the more you spend your time in service and preparing to serve, the better karmic pattern you're writing for yourself. If you notice, all advanced beings spend their life uh, serving uh, the universe. So as much time as you can spend doing that, you should do that. And the mantra works on any plane of existence. I hope that answers your question.
So will it have the same effects on each realm?
Yes, and more effects on the mental realms, on the mental subtle realms. Mantra have a greater effect. There's less obstruction on the higher mental realms. I mean,
Next question. Assuming I'm having a natural death at an old age in this present life, what determines where I will be reborn next time, and will I just be reborn in the same country?
That's all depends on your karmic pattern. See if that person looking for this room. Bernard, I don't know. That all depends on that all depends on your own karmic pattern. You should be able to determine that. Hmm? Somebody called and said they was coming. They was looking for the room. I don't know. It was a guy. Yeah, so so you can be reborn anywhere depending on your karmic needs. Any other questions?
Can you talk more about karmic patterns?
Karmic pattern is brought about from your own uh, thoughts and actions. Remember, karma is the is the it's a divine law of God that governs all actions. And as you think and move throughout the manifested world, you dictate uh, your past and present actions dictate what your future actions will be. So if you weave into your auric pattern uh, uh, certain actions that demands a certain reaction, that's your future. So in other words, if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over and making the same mistake, then your future reaction will be to uh, to push you towards understanding what that mistake is, and so that you can overcome that thing. And that's what it is. You have what they say. Every thought and every action creates what's called a samskara. The Hindus call a samskara, which scars the aura or implant a lesson, a future lesson for you to learn, or a future energy pattern that must be utilized in order for you to learn your lesson. So that's what continues to happen, and that's your karmic pattern. Is what you build your own karmic pattern. I hope that answers your question. Now, I would say something about future lives. If a person take on a mission to where they sacrifice their life for that particular mission to bring something good on Earth or in a segment of the world, that person can be reborn in that same regions of the world. several times in order to complete that mission. So when you have certain activists that take on a noble cause in order to usher some new thought or bring the consciousness, the group consciousness of the world to a certain awakening, that person, it may take them several lifetimes to bring that about. They may be an activist in that present life. They may die and go to the astral realms and continue that mission there, and then they die from the astral realms and be reborn on Earth and continue that mission here on Earth, and then they die and go back and still be an activist on the other side, and then in their third or fourth thing, they may in their third or fourth life back here, they may complete their mission, and a lot of times that's why you find certain charismatic type leaders or characters because they've been doing that for lifetimes, and they have this unusual aura about themselves. They have this unusual way of explaining things or doing things, and that's why, because they are adepts at that subject that they are doing, because they are activists. I mean, they've been doing it for lifetimes, probably for a couple hundred years, or some a couple thousand years. So I would say that about being reborn and knowing where you're going.
Could you also say that if you were involved in some type of mission or activism or lifestyle for several lives, when you incarnate, you would feel pressure towards that particular path or towards that particular...
Yeah, it's a natural thing with you. A lot of that stuff you don't have to be taught because you naturally see the patterns of those things, and the education that you get at that time, it only reinforces what you already know, and it just gives you a platform in which to speak the language you need to speak on this particular plane of existence. Because maybe you were on the other plane, maybe you didn't speak so much, maybe you use mental visualization, or maybe you spoke a whole different language, or maybe you were on some planes you far into the future, and other planes you far into the past. So maybe you didn't, the technology, all the things around you are different now. So you have to, and building up to take your mission on again, you have to learn the language, get the body language down and all of that, but it's still within you. So you just mold and shape the present realm knowledge of communication to you so that you can finish your mission or speak your mission or do your mission or whatever. So that's the difference.
Okay, when we are reborn, it is said that our higher self determines when and where and chooses the parents and situation. But surely there is a lot of competition from other souls. Who decides whose needs are greater? Is it who has the greater karmic need?
I don't know what he means by that.
What, Jack, what do you mean by competition?
And the higher self only uses the tools that the lower self give it to be used, in a sense, if that makes sense. Because remember, the more advanced you become, the more you work within the law of karma. Because the higher self understand that the karma is the laws of action, meaning of how we think, of how we move, right? So the higher self is going to enforce the lessons that's needed to encourage you to move outside, above the realm that you're in. In other words, so those things that's weighing you down and not allowing you to grow mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, then the higher self is going to enforce the lessons on you to move beyond that realm of existence. So that's what that's what's meant when they say the higher self choose your life and all of that. But we do notice patterns, uh, uh, the patterns in people in those people's lives who take on certain missions. I hope that answers your question.
What kind of role does the pineal gland play to take a person to a higher realm?
Um, a lot of research been done around this. I don't necessarily cater to that. I know a lot of metaphysicians speak on that, but uh, you have the physical system of, of functioning, which is really a machine, a body, in which an expression of the soul, and then you have several other bodies uh, that express itself through the soul. The uh, I don't know how long ago, but many years ago, they introduced the physical scientists who studied this subject, introduced the pineal gland as being some gland that usher in psychic ability and all this. Uh, the yogi mystic knowledge that I have been brought up in for the last 50 years, we don't acknowledge that. So it's very clear and precise how these things happen, and the physical body responds to the patterns of energy produced by you, the soul, working through the various vehicles of expression and using the tools that's given to you through those various vehicles of expression, which primarily is mind, uh, kundalini, and the five and minor major pranas. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's all the physical body. The reason why we're in this physical body is to slow down this energy to a point, to all the energies, to slow down the energies to a point to allow us to experience manifestation on this basic level. And it it is the acceleration of the energies through pranayama, prayer, mantra, and all these yogic techniques, you know, being pulled together and loomed together with tantra yoga, that actually raise the vibration of this gross matter to allow for a period of time higher levels of consciousness. So it's not some secret organ in the body that does this. It's not. So I hope that answered the question. Why?
So is that why after a full raise of 100% of Kundalini, a risen or a higher quality body is needed, as opposed to just working through the same gross physical body?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's also important to know that for every major psychic center, there's a gland that corresponds to that psychic center.
Yeah, it's multiple glands.
Glands are a system of organs that correspond to it.
Yeah. But it's multiple glands that it's not just one or two. It's multiple glands. So, but I mean, I go into this deeply in one of my past classes. If you take the time, there's over 200, 300, 400 videos, right, online, and I go deep into this, and give a lot of detailed information that if you're really interested in learning, then you can go back and look, and I reference a lot of material that you can go and study. And online, we put most of those books that I reference, we put them online as free, and you can get it and just make a donation to keep the site up, because there's hundreds of books. And then sometimes we have over almost 2,000 books that we don't even have online, but if you call and request, we can send it to you.
For a donation.
Okay.
What is the meaning of the word Krishna?
Krishna?
Avatar Krishna?
The Lord Krishna it's supposed to be a sacred name. Some people even look at it as a mantra. But the Lord Krishna was one of the greatest masters that ever came to this planet. In fact, the Lord Krishna, this Kali Yuga period that we're living in, it was the death of the Lord Krishna, according to the ancient teachings. His death signified the start of the Kali Yuga that we're living in right now.
Death or his birth?
No, his death. His death marked the start of this dark period that we're living in right now, which was like 5,000 some years before the Master Jesus came here. So one of the greatest cosmic masters or avatars that came here to Earth, he was reportedly came from the planet Saturn. He came here on a mission in order to balance out the karma of mankind and to usher in a new period. Any other question?
Sometimes when I'm doing some types of pranayama, I start to yawn uncontrollably, even when I'm not tired. What could be the cause of this, and can I avoid it?
Just got to work through that. Those things happen. You're gonna even get the bends doing pranayama. So those things just gonna happen till your body get used to it. You just got to work through it. Yeah, you even get the bends. Yeah, it feels like the bends. When you're doing pranayama for long periods of time. So, and it's agonizing. It's painful. know, I used to practice pranayama for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours at a time. So you actually get to bend sometimes. So all different things begin to happen to you when doing pranayama.
I find that happens when you first start
Hmm.
I find that happens early on in the session.
Yeah. Were you yarning and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But not deep into the session.
So.
I like what you're saying about missions and having a purpose. Can you talk about the difference between purgatory and the heaven world?
I don't necessarily call it purgatory, and I guess some people do call it purgatory, but you move on. I mean, death is only a transition to another realm of existence. It's not. Is not. It's not being there forever and ever and ever. It's because you're going to be reborn until you ascend, until you become a Jesus or an Elijah or a Moses or you know or Mahatma Gandhi or whatever until you transcend this the mortal way of thinking. So uh, you know it's only a classroom, and what the law and karma, the law of karma, which molds and shapes us into being the perfect servant to the universe. That's what it really does, because it places the pressure on our lives from life to life to life to understand, to have us to understand that we are our brother's keeper and that we have to serve. Our whole existence has to be about serving. The sun serves 24/7. The earth serves 24/7. These are entities. Uh, the tree, the tree serves us 24/7. As we serve the tree, because as we breathe and breathe out our natural state of living, when we breathe out this carbon dioxide, the tree breathe this in and sustain itself. But consciously, we try to go in another direction. We try not to live what for our purpose. We live against our purpose. So that's a direction we need to go into. Uh, you know, you die. You go to one of the astral realms, whether it's considered a heaven or a hell. You go there for a time. You learn a lesson, then you die from there and be reborn here, and you start from a baby and go back to an elderly person if you make it through, and then you die again, and the cycle repeats itself until you get to the point where you don't need to be reborn again. Go ahead. I hope that answers your question. What's the next question?
What is the meaning of the OM symbol? Well, they just asked the symbol and then they posted the AUM in Sanskrit symbol.
What did you say? The uh, yeah, it's not OM. It's AUM. Uh, the AUM is a creative word, and really, with mantra, you can't give it a definite meaning uh, because it means things on many different levels. But the AUM itself, is a creative word. It's the word that's repeated by the sun every 32 minutes, and it sustains all life. In fact, it's the known is because the sun uh, uh, released this word, but there's another word that's embedded or released along with that that's never spoke about. But the AUM we know is a creative aspect, is that creative sound vibration for the for the, the the universe and this solar system, and it sustains life. You know, because with the ushering of that word comes the Mahabhutas, the pranas, the mind substance, the gnotic flow of energy, the taviks. All these components of energy flow from the sun with the issuing of that word. And then it creates the cycles in which we live and breathe in. It pushes energy towards the moon. The moon takes that energy and modify it to help create the mental worlds around this planet. The earth takes in part of the energy in order to sustain the various realms of existence, from the physical realm to the lower realms, all the way up to the higher realms. So, so it's the meaning of it. We really can't give it an exact meaning, but we can describe what it does, because to try to give it one direct meaning, we limit, we give great limitation to it. So we try to refrain from doing that. Huh? He did, and he did a little bit, yeah. He did, and Swami Sivananda did too. But both of them also stated that you can't give a definite meaning because so much is connected to it. You know, it's like Dr. George King said when the great master uh, uh, came to them and told them not to uh, do a repeated uh, do a repeated chant of this mantra for long periods of time on the roof. He stated to them that if anyone asks you a question, say AUM because it has all knowledge. You know, within the AUM is all knowledge. It's all answers. It answers everything. It's the answer to everything. What's the next question?
Jack, that video or series of videos might be private, so send me an email and I'll grant you access to it. Is nothing or emptiness tantamount to fullness in deep meditation?
I don't know. I don't know what to. I hate to use the word nothingness uh, because that cannot exist. The master theorist that spoke through Dr. King said, if you can create the perfect vacuum from physical substance, the remaining substance that will be there will be the absolute. So, in other words, you can never get to nothingness because the absolute is all, and the absolute is all present, you know, all knowing. So, the people who use those words, they either lack the the knowledge or they haven't mastered the language in which they're writing in. What's the next question?
In your book, you talk about the divas in chakras. And in another lecture, you mention our aura as being a divic toilet.
Did I say toilet? I didn't say toilet. I don't think I ever said that. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure. I never said that. I don't remember.
do we
Unless
have
they-
divas living in our auric body, just as we have bacteria living in our physical body? If so, can you talk more about those divas, the number, activities, sizes, etc.?
You have to understand what divas are. If I have water here, there's a diva present. You have 70% water in your body, there's a diva present. You have bone in your body, which bone represents part of what? Earth, right? You have a earth diva. You have a, you know, you have you have different grades of liquid and minerals in your body. So you have what? You have divas in your body. Because why? Because the divas represents elements, right? That's what they teach us, right? So according to the tantric teachings, the tantra satra teachings, we have at least 360 divas operating in our body at all times, which correlates with the 360 Tavic rays that radiate from the sun that sustain our body. And within at least 6 major chakras within the body, you have the divas. The divas are there, radiating themselves from the sun. So yes, you do have the divas there within the body. Now, I say at least 360 because they only gave us information on the 6 major chakras from the base of the spine up to the Ajna chakra, or the third eye, what a lot of people like call the Christ chakra. So that's why I say that. In the root Muladhara chakra, you have 56 major divas there in operation, making sure things go right. And because we're told that with the Tavic rays is a great diva that operates there. You know, with every ray there's a diva. And then in the sex center you have 62 divas in operation. In the solar plexus center you have 52 divas in operation. In the heart chakra you have 54. In the throat chakra you have 72, and in the third eye or Christ chakra you have 64 divas, all totaling up to 360 divas. So that's just life. You know, and these divas do what? They govern all motion. They are loyal servants of the lords of karma, and they make sure that every action that's made, the proper reaction is given. So they govern so-called non-sentinel and sentinel life throughout the solar system and universe. So when you hear people say, well, animals are closer to nature than what we are, only thing they're saying is that the divas are the watchers of those animals. That's what that means.
The role of the soul in all this.
The soul uses the devas to help manage the activities of its major bodies of expression. The soul woves itself into this manifested world and use the energy of the universe, the Shakti, the Shiva, the Shakti, the modifications of the Shakti, the hundreds of modifications of the Shakti in order to build and operate its bodies of expression throughout within the manifested world throughout the many lifetimes that it sends that it sends its bodies of expression to. I hope that answered your question. So go back. I don't think I said devic toilet. Go back and listen to me real quick. I don't think I said that. I probably said devic laboratory or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean a laboratory. I mean like a scientific.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Laboratory like a
Yeah.
like a science.
Yeah, it's more like a scientific. That's what I meant. Okay, so all right.
Hey, I googled that phrase.
What? Yeah.
You're the only thing that comes up.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Yeah, it is. But
But you've shown us in books where it.
yeah, it's in
listed,
books.
yeah.
It's in books. It's in books.
You've shown us the charts too.
It's there. It's there in the.
Serpent power.
It's in the Serpent Power, and I think it might be in the Garden of Letters. Yeah, and in Shati from Arthur Avalon book. I think he mentioned it again in his book called what is called Power something, Power of the World, the World's Power. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, what's the next question?
I work with extending my breath during my pranayama practice. I am at a point where I can take one breath every 30 minutes. What are the benefits of this, and why would I go beyond this level?
So, what is his count in doing that every 30 minutes? You can usually. No, I mean, no.
He can't hear you, so I don't know.
I don't
Use the mic.
think that's what he's doing.
Ask him what he's doing if he's holding his breath for 30 minutes in between each breath.
I don't think so.
If that's the case, he's raising Kundalini.
Yeah.
He says, I don't have a count. Are you holding your breath for 30 minutes?
In between each breath.
In between each breath?
No, he's not doing that. Or is it a he or she?
I believe it's a male. Well, I don't want to assume.
Proper pranayama, you have to count the breaths.
Did he answer?
He just said,
Oh, you can see it too.
Yeah, I can see it.
says no,
Proper-
I am
proper,
slowing the breath.
The only thing, mine's go in and out. I'm using my phone.
So he's definitely not holding his breath for a half.
No. The proper pranayama exercise, you have to keep count of your breath, because especially in the beginning, you want to make sure that the inhale equals the exhale, and that creates the rhythm. And then once you have that down, you can go to the next type of breath, where you breathe through the mouth and allow a rhythm there, And then you go to the next type of breath where you can retain the breath, breathe, retain, and then exhale. And if you breathe in 10 counts, then you hold for 20 counts, and then you exhale for 10 counts. So, and then you build that up, and you can only tell what the count is as you build it up. So go back to the book. You can order it from ethereus.org, or you might can get it right off of Amazon. It's called Contact Your Higher Self Through Yoga. You can also go back to our website, mysticknowledge.org, and pick up the book Science of Breath by Yogi Ramacharaka. And it gives you the pranayama exercises that's very beneficial, and it tells you how to do this. Also, Swami Sivananda has a book on pranayama too that gives those exercises. The simplest exercises and very balanced exercises, like I said, was the first book, Contact Your Higher Self Through Yoga, written by Dr. Sri Yogi Riji George King.
Yeah. So, well, what's the benefit of why would I go beyond this level? He says, on my shorter breaths, 5 to 10 minutes, I am doing a 60 in and 100 out. Yeah, you can breathe in for a count of 60 and breathe out for a count of 100.
Is he measuring that right?
How are you? How are you measuring or counting your in breaths and out breath? It's not necessarily seconds. There's a few videos where Nehemiah goes over practicing pranayama, and he shows you how to count on your hand. He says 1001, 1002, 1003. No.
It's good, but that's not the problem.
Yeah, so take time to, you want to free your head up. So take time to learn how to do it with the mudra that's given to you, because as you breathe in and out, you want to mentally direct the energy into the body and direct the energy out of the body. And what you really want to do, you want to stimulate the free flow of kundalini within the body. And by directing the energy in and out of the body, you can consciously, over time, train the kundalini within the body to reroute itself and redirect itself down certain channels to allow this kundalini to stimulate the spinal column, the outer and inner shushunda, which is along the spinal column, in order to activate the chakras. And once you can go into a deep concentration and allow the flow of prana being pushed into your body to attract all the prana flowing through the nodic lines of force within the body, and then take control over those nodic lines of force and bring it down to the base of the spine, you can unlock the kundalini. And that's what pranayama leads you to, pranayama and mantra. Okay? So you go back to my old videos and we go deep into that. Any other questions?
So would that be holding the breath outside the body for 30 minutes or inside the body for 30 minutes?
It depends. I don't really want to go in because I won't give it justice.
Okay.
But that's one of the things. Like, in other words, the reason why you graduate up to creating a rhythm and using and using the mudra to count with, you begin to use multiple senses of the body without interfering with the mental apparatus of the body, so that you can use your imagination and visualization to direct the flow of energy, and then that energy become a magnetic pull on the kundalini within the nadis and outside of the nadis, or on the seashores of the nadis, the skin of the nadis. So, but it's a lot to go into. But if this person was really doing it correctly, they would see and understand what I'm talking about.
Cassandra Lilly, can you explain your question or expand on your question? I'm not sure I understand what you're asking.
What's that?
Just tell me why I'm hearing extreme voices after, period. It says, I got all. I'm not sure what they're asking.
Who's asking that question?
Cassandra's Lily. It's a few lines up.
I don't. What was the question before that?
That's the only thing they've posted.
And what was the question again?
I don't know what the question is. It says, tell me why I'm hearing extreme voices after, and then period. It says, I got all. I'm not sure what they're trying to say. Yeah. Another question. I experience a period of waking up at 3:33 a.m. on the dot. Do you know what could have caused this?
Uh, a lot of if you practicing yoga or breathing exercise or psychic stuff, uh, huh? Yeah, but they normally wake up around that period,
Mm-hmm.
around 3:30. Even Swami Sivananda suggested that you wake up during that period because that's the period in which you should do all your meditative exercises. 3:30 in the morning.
I wake up around 3 or 4,
Yeah.
between 3 and 4.
And
Naturally, I just
what
wake up.
happens is a good for some reason is the energy flow well to allow you to go into a mental state.
He calls it the hour of Brahma.
Yeah. So a lot of people who practice psychic stuff or meditation, they find themselves waking up at that time.
Can you talk about the violet flame? Can it mitigate negative karma, or how best to visualize it?
There's a good exercise for the violet flame in a book called The Practices of a Theorist. So I will direct you there. You can get it from it's a little tiny book, um, almost a booklet from from
Theory Society.
theorist.org, and the violet flame is used to help burn up negative energy within the aura. And you should practice the violet flame every day, really. You should put the violet flame around you. And the violet flame is actually, it actually comes from the logos of the earth. It's a part of the logos of the earth. And it's a mechanism that we can use to help protect us, to transmute negative karma, and to also heal us too, karmically. So, but go and look at the practice in that book, and begin to practice it. And after you practice for a while, come back and ask the question.
Okay, everyone. If you have any further questions, please ask them. Okay. As a follow-up to the question I asked a few weeks ago about the android that the adepts removed from our world, if it was made from metal, then is it a highly evolved mineral? And will it later reincarnate into an animal or human body? I ask because many people are worried about AI's, artificial intelligence, and robot-ruled future, and it would be interesting to know if they are on the same evolutionary path as us.
As far as the that alien mission that he's referring to, that particular alien, everything was removed from this earth and sent back to its original origin. Nothing was left here by that particular alien, to my understanding. We as far as our physical plane of existence, we animate the life around us the same way the sun, the moon, and the earth animate our lives. So the direction in which the lower life forms that we surround ourselves with and use in order to make our life more convenient is up to us what direction that goes. So we first need to worry about ourselves, and then we wouldn't have no worry about the lower life forms that we use in order to make our lives convenient. Yeah, because we place the intention in that artificial life, and intention is everything. Huh? Yeah, I mean,
To what?
the direction they go in is up to us. Well, they saying that some are already making decisions.
Yeah, they're already there and
Yeah.
surpassing us in some level.
in calculations, but not in perceived calculations, but not necessarily to a point of a human intelligence, because a human intelligence is self-generating constantly. But the machines are not self-generating constantly. They are, they're based on calculation, and they're calculating and making adjustments for calculation. Although we're doing the same thing, but we do it on a level far superior than a machine. We're not necessarily conscious of it, but we're conscious of what we put in the machine, because instinctively we manipulated the mathematics in order to reproduce ourselves within all machinery, whether it's a car, this camera and setup and motherboard and all that stuff is something from our own makeup. Someone studied our own makeup and then reproduced that. It's just haven't took on full human intelligent movement yet. Any other questions?
Are there any final questions before we close out? Okay. And if there are no more questions, go ahead and close out this class with a prayer. New Lord's Prayer. O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up and in doing so receive to their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. O great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing. Grant it energy to sing on forever and forever. All right, thank you for watching, and stay tuned to Meetup. See the announcement for our next class.